Hi guys. We'll be starting soon, just waiting for a few more people to join in. Good afternoon. Hi Annapurna. I hope everyone is doing fine. The phase lockdown 4.0. Hi Rashmi. Hi Manisha. Hi Shani. Okay, so I guess we can get started now. I'm going to first start with a short introduction of myself. So, I'm Dr. Shruti Sridhar, and I have my own clinic, the Purple Coat Clinic. And it's basically what I do is I do holistic approach for various health issues. I am an MBBS doctor to begin with, so I passed out in 2011, and since then I have done a lot of different courses. I've trained in homeopathy, acupuncture, Reiki, nutrition, also public health. So I have uh, the past 10 years has been a journey for me, trying to understand health in its various aspects, and I try to incorporate all that I have learned so far in treating my clients as well. So my approach is very holistic. I do not give drugs, even though I'm MBBS. I do not prescribe drugs. I do not prescribe medications. The only thing I do prescribe right now is homeopathy and nutrition. But my focus is mostly whenever somebody walks in through the door, it is to make them independent and make them healthy, by themselves as soon as possible. So take them off all kinds of medication, including homeopathy. So everything is like a support to build up the health of the person, and then finally, they can uh, build it up themselves. That's what I try to do in my practice. And it's interesting because 80% of my practice is women, and I see a lot of cases of PCOD, thyroid, eczema, menstrual issues, all of that. So what I'll be talking today is going to be a culmination of all that I have experienced in the past few years of treating so many women, and how and I feel that when they tell me their story, their history, their journey, I realize that they are misinformed and misled right from the beginning. Uh, Manisha, I will try. Okay, so I will try to make this. So this will be available for 24 hours, I think, on my page, and we'll see if the recording can be available later, also. Yeah. So I think all live sessions are available for 24 hours. Yeah. Yeah. So as I was saying, uh, when women tell me their stories, like how they landed up where they are, one of the things I realized that the reason they are here today is because they fail to realize the warning signs or red flags right from the beginning. Like when I listen to their story, I tell them, okay, this is where the problem started, not today. And then they realize, oh my God, yes, you're right. So the reason why I started this series, so if you guys, anyone would have attended my live session last week, so we were discussing conscious preconception, and we discussed how body awareness is important and how you need to prepare for even conception, let alone pregnancy and childbirth, etc., etc., but even for conception, that you need to prepare beforehand. Now, today I am taking the scale a little further back, and we are trying to understand the menstrual health that is going to lead to a conscious preconception. So that is what the whole idea of today's live session is. So in the last session we talked about awareness, a lot about body awareness, a lot about understanding your own body, your own cycle, your own physiology. So it's the same that's going to continue again today. We will be doing a lot of further webinars and workshops on body awareness. So we are going to touch upon core awareness, we are going to touch upon like today we are doing menstrual awareness, we're going to touch upon breath awareness, postural awareness. All these things are part of sensing your own being, and once you do that, you can actually sense if you're going off and if you're having an imbalance, and you can get it checked or it treated or it corrected in the earliest possible stages. So when it's done that way, it is much less it's much easier and it is much less painful. So when you correct it at the earliest. So that's the whole idea of menstrual awareness that I am starting off today. So this journey that how I came across FM. So today I'm going to be talking about something called as fertility awareness method. So this happened, I think, around 7 years back when I was living in Europe. I had registered myself to a local library, and that is where I found this book on fertility awareness, and I was pretty intrigued. I'm like, what is this? Can I just see? Can I just read? So it was a 200-page, like really thick, hardbound book with a lot of scientific data, a lot of design illustrations, diagrams, all of that. And I started reading the book, and I was amazed by what was written in the book and how easily the author had translated the medical knowledge into what we experience in daily life as women. And I was like, oh my god, why don't they teach this in medical school? Like, why don't they teach? Even as doctors, we are not aware of simple physiological changes in menstrual cycle. It was mind blowing for me. And I started adapting some of the practices. I started testing on myself whether I'm able to do it, and it was pretty interesting, the journey. And since then I got pregnant, had a kid, had a maternity break. Now we're back to work, and now I'm realizing that more and more people need to do this because they need to understand their cycle, and they need to understand how they can read their body, so that if it goes off, then they are able to correct it at the earliest, right? So the first thing that I want to discuss is, what is a normal period? Okay, does anyone know what is a normal period here? You can flood me with answers, you can type it in the comments if possible. Not a lot of time, quickly. So, okay, anybody? Okay, so a normal period is something where you don't even realize that you're going to get your period, you don't even realize you're on your period, and you don't even realize that your periods are done. Okay, that's what a normal period should feel like. It's not normal to have mood swings before your periods or during your periods. It's not normal to have severe cramping in your abdomen during periods that you have to take a hot water bottle and sit every month. It's not normal to bleed more than 5 days during your period. It's not normal to have clots in your blood. It's not normal to have a really dark black blood during your period. It's not normal to bleed heavily, where you are literally soaking 3 or 4 pads in a day. That's not normal either. It's not normal to not ovulate on every cycle. So we'll discuss this a little more in detail after some time, but it's not normal to not ovulate on every cycle. Okay, so this is how you need to understand what a normal period feels like. A lot of women don't know that, right? Recently I had a patient. She's a 35-year-old woman who had come to me with anxiety issues, panic attacks, etc., etc. And when I was asking her questions, so we finished almost 45 minutes of consultation, and she didn't for 1 second tell me anything about her periods. But as a holistic doctor, as a homeopath, for every woman I asked them their period history. So I started asking her menstrual history, and then she told me, well, from the age of 20 or almost around that time, every cycle for 2 days when my period starts, I am in extremely excruciating pain. So I have to take painkillers, and I am on medications for 2 days. And now it has come to a point where I just take painkillers as a preventive. I don't even wait for the pain to start. So this is the kind of the history that I got from that woman. And now when I see her, like now her period cycles, she told me like, I am not feeling any pain at all, and I have even stopped taking my medication. So for me, that is progress in health. That is progress in her, that is elevation in her health status. That is what I look at it as. Anxiety, panic attacks, definitely less. But what I keep as a measure for gauging if she's getting better or not is how her menstrual cycle is. Now, even in last live session and even today, I am going to stress this point that women, your menstrual cycle is your indicator for your level of health. If you are having an off cycle, then you have to understand what you have done wrong, that the cycle is this way. And this is possible only if you closely monitor each and every one of your cycles. So this, if you do it for a year or so, it's very easy to understand when you go off. It's very easy to understand that when your cycle is not behaving normally, right? That is the whole point that I want to stress on. Now another very a very common question that I get. So I see a lot of women with so-called infertility. I don't like the term infertility, but that's why I'm saying so-called infertility, or who are trying to conceive, and they are using ovulation strips to guess whether they are ovulating or not. And the most common question I get is, oh, by the way, I use the strips for around 4 or 5 days for a couple of months. Like 1 month I had a very light line, and the next month I had no line. So I'm not understanding whether I'm ovulating or I'm not ovulating. Like, how do I know? How do I interpret this? So is it that I'm doing the test on the wrong days, or is it that I'm not ovulating? Is it that I'm not doing the test the right way? Now, even after doing the ovulation test, taking the kit at home and doing the test, they are having a big question mark, in their head, that what they are doing is right or wrong. This is because they are not correlating ovulation with the different signs and different signs in their body. That's the problem. So our cycle is not like a calendar. Well, ideally it should be like a calendar, but it's not. We are not living an ideal life. We are having a lot of distractions. We are having late nights. We are having disturbed sleep. We are having many other hormonal disruptors going on in the surroundings. So our cycle is not like a calendar. So we do not ovulate the same time every month. It happens. Okay, so there is no way to tell whether the 4 days that you actually took the ovulation test were the right days or not. Maybe you ovulated later, or maybe you ovulated before this tests were taken. So even those who are trying to wrap their head around ovulation, they are not able to get the right window. So if you're trying to practice the rhythm method of contraception, which I'll be talking about in some time, if you don't understand this window, it's very, very difficult to even practice it otherwise. So it's not an effective way of contraception either. So this another reason why the FAM, or the fertility awareness method, really, really, really helps, right? So now, to begin with, I need to first talk about a little bit about menstrual stigmatization, because we are living in a society where talking about menses and period is still like a big taboo. And I feel that the sex education or menstrual health education for girls in schools and colleges is not adequate at all. So they don't get the right information. They end up searching on the internet. They sometimes get wrong sources. They don't they are not body aware, they are not taught how to be body aware, and so the whole process of stigmatization, all that starts. So that's where the whole problem stems. So if the people who are listening here, who have kids, who have daughters, or who will have daughters in the future, I have a sincere request to start sensitizing girls from an earlier age onwards. So it's quite normal for girls who are like 3 years or 4 years, who kind of understand, they understand language, they have a good sense of talking, they understand, they pick up words. So especially in those kids, try to use the right language. Like, it's okay to say that, oh, if you have a UTI, or let's say, kids have UTIs very commonly. So if you have a UTI, you tell them, you use the term that you are having a urinary infection or a vaginal infection. Use the term. Tell them these are breasts and these are normal. So try to first normalize everything around sexuality. And I'm not saying do it in a sensual way. No, just do it as in a matter of fact way. They actually understand a lot of things. Like kids who are 4, 3, 5, who are getting another kid in the family, they understand that the mother has the baby in the tummy and the baby is going to come out. So they understand some parts of it. Some parts of it they'll understand when they grow up. But it is important that you desensitize them from an early age, so that when they reach the age of puberty, maturity, when they are having these doubts about themselves, like, oh my god, I'm developing breasts, I'm getting periods, every month I'm bleeding, what the hell is happening? When these kind of questions come, they are they feel free to come and talk to you, first of all. And secondly, they are body aware and they can understand their own cycle. Okay, so here I would like to discuss the evolutionary biology of menstruation. So how did we land up menstruating? Because we are the only higher primate that who have menstruation. So even most of the monkeys who we are evolutionarily close to don't have menses every month. So what they do is they just when their uterus prepares for pregnancy and the pregnancy doesn't happen, they just absorb all the preparation back into their body. That's what happens. They have an estrous cycle. So we and couple other primates, they have got what is called as a menstrual cycle. So every month your body is under the influence of two major hormones. There are many more than that, but just two to begin with. One is estrogen or estrogen as you call it, and progesterone. So estrogen, starting with an E, is an egg producing hormone. So EE, you can remember that. And progesterone is progestin. So it is pro-gestation or pro-pregnancy. So that is the pregnancy preparation hormone. So the first half of your menstrual cycle till you ovulate, your body is under the effect of estrogen, and after you ovulate, your body is under the effect of progesterone. And under the effect of estrogen, you have certain changes in your body, and under the effect of progesterone, you have certain changes in your body. So it's very easy actually if you do the method. So the method is a combination of various signs and symptoms, as I said. So if you do the method, you can easily understand where exactly in the cycle are you. Are you in an estrogenic phase, or are you in a progesteronic phase, or are you in the middle, like you're ovulating? So it's quite easy to understand if you understand the signs of both of these. Okay, so every month our body prepares for pregnancy, and when the pregnancy doesn't happen, the uterine lining is shed. So that is what is menstruation basically. And today, because of unhealthy lifestyle, we have come to a point where we have bleeding for 4 to 5 days, and we have to change at least 2 pads a day, and the blood loss amount on an average is 80 to 100 ml. But if you take an ideal scenario where you're healthy and where the entire population would be healthy, you should not be bleeding more than 8 to 10 teaspoons every cycle. That is it. Because bleeding too much is a loss for your body. It is a loss of blood, it is a loss of iron, loss of nutrients, and your body has to rebuild that every month. So it is metabolically quite stressful on your body. So the first, let's say, few years, your body will not feel the stress, because it's been healthy for a while, and then you started menstruation, and then for a few years you're doing fine, and then you start developing problems after, like, let's say you started your menstruation at the age of 13 or 14, your problems actually start coming around 23, 24, and now we are seeing that the age of PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome is kind of around 21, 22. That is the kind of a borderline where we are seeing cases now. Most of the cases that I get, right, they start around 21, 22. They seek the wrong kind of treatment for 5 or 6 years. I'm saying wrong kind because they go to the gynec, and the gynec gives them the pill, the contraceptive pill, and on the pill their body is bang on time. Obviously the body is going to be bang on time. You are supplying the body externally with estrogen and progesterone, so your body doesn't rely on itself anymore, it's relying on the pills. And after, let's say, 8 years or so, or 6 years on the pill, your body has forgotten how to produce estrogen and progesterone. It's completely off balance, right? And what you're giving is a fixed dose, but what your body needs is a variable dose. Every day your body needs different amount of estrogen and different amount of progesterone, and you can't do that sort of a control when you're taking a drug externally. So they take drugs for 6 to 8 years, and then they realize that this is not going to go anywhere because they have side effects from those drugs. They have weight gain, they have unwanted body hairs, their PCOD sometimes is still progressing in the process. They might develop secondary diabetes, borderline diabetes, again as a side effect of those medications. And then they realize, you know what, I think it's time I need to stop taking these drugs. Or they finally realize, okay, I want to try for a baby, but if I'm on a contraceptive pill, I can't have a baby. So then they try to analyze, and they try to come for a holistic treatment, for homeopathy, for diet, etc., etc. My idea is, if you realize these things, why don't you start early on? If you understand at the age of 21, 22 or 24 that your cycle is going off, you are having symptoms which I shared. You're having mood swings, you're having weight gain, you are having bloating before periods, you are having cramps, you're having clots, you're having a lot of bleeding. So there are so many red flags that you can pick. And when you are picking those red flags, you know that something is off. You need to get it treated as soon as possible, right? Another sign or another indication of your menstrual health is your vaginal discharge. So I don't know if you guys have seen. So next week on Sunday, again 5 to 6 p.m. I'll be doing a webinar on details of the fertility awareness method. The reason I have another webinar is that because it is more detailed, and to use that method for contraception or for fertility awareness, I need to explain physiology and anatomy a little more detailed, and there are some rules that you need to follow. Okay, it sounds overwhelming, but when you start doing it and you do it for, say, 6 months continuously, it's very easy to understand your body after that. It's not difficult. It's just putting it into practice, right? So in this webinar, I'll be discussing in detail that how you can analyze your vaginal discharge, and how do you understand if the vaginal discharge is going off. Now, just as an overview, I'm saying now, so if your vaginal discharge is smelly, is green, is curdled like paneer or cottage cheese, is itchy, and is present when it should not be ideally present. So this I'll be discussing in the webinar. So when that happens, then you know that something is off. Also, you would also notice that when your diet goes off, you drink too much, you have the wrong kind of food, your vaginal discharge is going to smell different, because that is your body's way of excreting toxins from your uterus, from your body, right? So this is how you can actually analyze how things are affecting you. Okay, so one, you carefully monitor your cycle, see how you're feeling during the cycle. So any of the red flag symptoms that I said, if you're having it, then you need to get it sorted out. Second, you can check for vaginal discharge. So if there's anything off in your vaginal discharge, you know that something needs to be done. Third major flag is how your breast during the cycle. That also really is an indicator. A lot of women have breast pain, cyclical breast pain along with your menstrual cycle. that again suggests hormonal imbalance. Now it can be severe breast pain, it can be mild, it presents in various ways, but it just indicates, because your breasts also have estrogen receptors, so it basically indicates you are having some sort of a hormonal imbalance that are causing all these symptoms. So the idea that why I'm sharing all these things is for you to realize that first, know your body, know how your cycle is, know that you have these symptoms. So when you understand your body is off, you can actually do something about it. That's the whole point. Now I'll give you a short explanation on the rhythm method. So the rhythm method is only one part of FAM, or fertility awareness method. So in the rhythm method, what you do is, once you have a regular cycle, say for example, say you have a regular 30-day cycle every month. Now physiology says that the sperm can be alive in a woman's body for 5 days, and the egg, once released, is viable inside the woman for 2 days. So 5 days before your ovulation and 2 days after your ovulation. So that 5 plus 2, 6 plus the day of ovulation, 7. So 7-day period is considered as a fertile window. Now the challenge of the calendar method. So this is just based purely on your calendar. So if you download any app, let's say you're downloading Flow, and you have put all your dates on Flow, and the Flow is going to tell you are close to ovulation, you are you are going to bleed for these many days. So these are all purely based on the calendar method that I just shared with you. So if Flow has predicted that you're going to have a 30-day cycle, depending on what history you have fed it is going to take 14 days minus 30 as your ovulation day, and it is going to count 5 days plus and 2 days 5 days minus and 2 days plus as your fertile window. That's what Flow does. Now Flow is an app. It doesn't know your body. It will predict that you are going to ovulate on this day, but do you actually ovulate? Only you can tell that. So this is where the fertility awareness method comes. So once you understand that this is the time that you're ovulating and your body is showing these signs, then the calendar method becomes even more accurate, because you are your own calendar. So you don't have to depend on any other apps for it. So in the webinar, I'm going to be discussing how what are the different signs. There are 5 to 6 signs that every woman can check regularly for every period. And once you put those signs together, you understand almost 90%, 85 to 90%, whether you have ovulated or not, and where in cycle are you. Are you in your fertile window, or are you in your infertile window? So you understand that very easily. So that is what I'm going to be discussing in the webinar next week. So this was just an overview of how these methods can be adapted. So those people who are trying to get pregnant and who want to understand their fertile window, if they use this method, they can easily identify when they are going towards the fertile window. They can either recheck it using the ovulation strips, and they can have sex exactly in that period, because that is going to be their fertile window. So these are the things where it will contribute. Those who are having PCOS, they can do this method so that they understand if they actually ovulate every month or not. Now it's common for women to not ovulate a few months. So they can ovulate for three months and then have a gap, or they can ovulate for 5 months and then have 2 months gap. This is normal. And also the ovulation happens from alternate sides usually. So that is also normal. And some women experience something called as an ovulation pain. So that's actually not normal. I just wanted to add that. But some women experience that and they understand that they have ovulated. So on the side that they ovulate, let's say I'm ovulating from right side today, exactly on the day of ovulation, along my waistline, I feel a prick. I will feel that prick, and that will be there for half a day or 24 hours, which is completely normal. It's a mid-cycle pain, and it will last only for a day. And they realize that, okay, I have ovulated, and I have ovulated from this side. So that's another way of body awareness. But not all women feel that, so it's not possible for all women to say whether they ovulate or not, and which is why you need to use the FAM method to identify whether the ovulation has taken place or not. And you can use this, as I said, in PCOS women, if they are, let's say they are doing nutrition diet protocol, and they're taking homeopathy or Ayurveda or acupuncture for their problem, they can keep a track of ovulation every month. So the most common presenting symptom for PCOS is anovulation or lack of ovulation, right? So they end up not ovulating for months together. It can be for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and some women still get their period, some women don't get their period. So especially in this kind of a confusion, if you understand how to read your body signs, you can easily figure out where you are in your cycle, right? So this is the whole idea of fertility awareness method. I hope I'm clear and I'm not going too fast. If you guys have any doubts, please keep sending me messages. I'll go through them as and when the topic comes. So yeah. Yes. Any questions so far? I also want to talk a little bit about hormonal treatments. So, a lot of now this is something that I'm commonly seeing in a lot of my clients. Even when they come to me, let's say 3-4 years after they've had their baby, their IVF, and all of that, when they listen to their story, I realize that they have been labeled as infertile for the wrong reasons. And the doctor has realized this later on and even corrected it sometimes. And sometimes they just, went ahead with the flow and did whatever needs to be done. So the first thing I would want to say that whoever is trying for getting pregnant or who has been labeled as infertile, which I don't like to do, or has been trying for a while and things are not working out, this should be your start. So this should be your start. This should be your a place where you begin and where you try to understand that how your cycle is behaving. Are you ovulating every month? That is the first question. Second, how is your menstrual health? Are you having any of the red flag symptoms? Third, these are the main two questions that you need to answer to yourself. If either of this is off, then I would suggest trying to fix it. Now, the first thing or the most important thing when you're fixing any hormonal imbalance is going to be diet and lifestyle. So I consider myself as a lifestyle coach because most of my clients I end up counseling them because that is what is going to make a big difference in their cycle, and that's what's going to make a big difference in their hormonal balance. So what do you mean by lifestyle? Like, first thing is not having late nights. So if you're in a job that is keeping you awake through the night, then think of quitting the job. It's not going to work out for you. It's not going to be good for your hormonal health. If you're having a lot of parties, lot of drinking, lot of smoking, consider cutting it down. I know it might sound like a very preachy advice, but in my experience and from what I see around me, all these things affect women way more than they affect men. For men, it's their health is different, their immunity is different, their body structure is different. For women, we are more sensitive, and I think we've been created like that because we have been given the onus of carrying the baby and carrying the child and being able to procreate. So we are given that onus on us. So we have a lot more going on inside us in terms of hormonal changes, and these things are affected to a great extent when you are let's say in your 20s and you're partying, you're doing late nights, you're smoking, you're drinking, and you are not aware of how your cycle is changing in those years. You see the effect later when you're in your 30s. You realize that you have gained weight, you're not able to shed your weight, you're having menstrual issues, you might have fertility issues, you might have migraines, maybe diabetes or other issues popping out. So I would suggest don't compare yourself with men of your age. We are genetically different. We are female, we have an XY chromosome, whereas we have an XX chromosome, whereas they have an XY chromosome. So we are genetically very different from them. Our metabolism is very different from them, and we don't function the way men do. So whatever it is, try to take a step back and try to first get into being aware of your body. Is your body actually taking those things? Are you truly resistant to smoking, drinking, fast foods, late nights, all of that, partying? Are you truly able to do it? That is the first question you need to ask yourself, right? Because a lot of times, especially when girls come 25, 26, and they are coming for PCOD, I tell them, okay, I'm going to sound preachy now, but no alcohol, absolutely no alcohol. And especially if they have associated eczema or skin problem, I said absolutely no alcohol. If you're going to have alcohol, your things are going to get aggravated, and I'm not going to be there to answer you, because you know what you have done. And they're like, oh my god, now how can I do this? I have so many friends, and we go out, we do this, we do that. But I tell them, your health is in your hands, as simple as that. Nobody else is suffering but you. So that is something that I think women need to realize, that whatever they are doing to their health, it's going to affect them eventually. And the effect is not seen immediately. That's the saddest part, and it is seen few years down the line in various other forms. And if you're not body aware and you are not realizing these things, if you're not aware that your vaginal discharge is being different for the past 6 months, you're not aware of it. You are not aware that you are actually having cyclical pain in your breasts every month, and you are just kind of ignoring it, or you are just letting it go, or you're just doing whatever you've been doing so far. So this is why I really stress on body awareness. It has to be done, and I feel women having the onus of bearing a child, whether you bear a child or not, that's a totally different story, but all these things affect your hormonal balance, right? Archana, yes, I will try to upload this time. As I said, it will be available for 24 hours today, so don't worry, you will be able to catch the first part of it. Don't worry. And also, I will just add again, so I'm going to be taking the FAM method, which is the fertility awareness method, more in detail next weekend on a webinar. So whoever is interested, please contact me and register for it. And it will be a paid webinar, and the reason why I'm doing it separately is because, as I said, I have to give more details on the physiology, on anatomy of the female body, and to understand the different signs of ovulation, different signs of your cycle, you need to understand the basic physiology that is going on. So this is not like 10th standard, 12th standard where you are by hearting everything. I will try to explain it to you in a way that you understand and it registers in your mind, because if you have to use it, as I said, for contraception or even for your fertility awareness, if you have to use it, then you need to understand these things properly and the rules that are put in place. So I'll be explaining all of that in detail, and it's going to be a fun webinar, and it'll blow your mind, because when I started doing this method, it honestly blew my mind. It was amazing, and I closely monitor my cycle even today, even though I miss recording the signs regularly. Someone said webinar I miss. So whoever is interested, you can follow me on Instagram. I have my phone number there. You contact me on WhatsApp, and then I'll share the details with you. Awesome. Yeah, so when I got into this method, so now I don't do it regularly, because I have kind of understood my body in a different way. So I know where I am in my cycle. Another sign that you might be ovulating, which may not happen for all women, is that your sex drive is increased just before you ovulate and during your ovulation, and your sex drive is increased just before your menses come. So these are the two times where you can kind of guess that maybe I am in that phase. That is one thing. See, again, this is just a guesswork, okay? But FAM, that is the fertility awareness method, has signs which are not guesswork, and they actually work. So when you combine the different techniques together, the percentage of accuracy of predicting your cycle goes up by 90%, goes up to 90%. So this is what I'm trying to do here. So when I started applying the techniques, it was for a month or two, it was kind of hard because we have to, it was not hard, let's say, it was, I had to keep a discipline. So I had to get up in the morning, do certain things, and then observe certain things through the day. And I was doing this for 2 months, and I enjoyed the process because I felt that I was in tune with my body, and I was realizing where I am, what's going on. I could easily predict when I'm going to get my period, and I was almost always right. So it was kind of fun as well. Those who have partners or boyfriends, husbands, whoever you're staying with, you can also include them in this activity. It's fun. So you both can do this. You both can see, okay, you are here in your cycle, I'm here in your cycle. So it's kind of, this is why I said the stigmatization around menstruation, around periods need to go. And this is the primary reason I had this webinar, because I felt like not a lot of women were talking about it, and not a lot of women even knew about this. And unfortunately, or weirdly, even where I read this, so I was in Ireland when I came across this technique. Even there, not a lot of women were following this, to be honest. They were not aware of this. So it's a worldwide phenomenon, not just in India. So I feel that this could be a great start, and this could be something that we can start talking on, right? So any questions you guys have? I still have 20 minutes before the feed will get cut. So last week, what happened? The feed got cut, and it was my first time, and I didn't know I had to save it, so it kind of got lost in the process. So now I'm going to make sure that I finish the live session before the feed gets cut. So if you have any questions, you just put it now so that I can answer them. Yeah. Also, last week for conscious preconception, I don't know how many of you guys attended. I'm sorry I couldn't put the video, but we had a yoga instructor with us. And she and I, we work closely together, and she had explained from a yoga perspective what does yoga say about menstruation and how ideal menstruation should be. And we also discussed some asanas that were good for menstrual health, so for strengthening your womb, strengthening your core muscles. So what sort of asanas can be? So that was an interesting discussion we had last week. If you guys want more on it, we'll be happy to host a webinar with her. She has some amazing insights. Let me know any other topics that interest you. You can leave it. I'll have a Instagram live next week on any of those sessions. I think this was suggested by Archana, and thank you so much for suggesting this topic. And I realized that more people need to talk about this, and that is why I discussed this in this week. It's nice to get feedback. Can I start my Ayurveda medicine? Someone suggested to me. So have you taken a proper consultation from an Ayurvedic? That is the first question I'm going to have. And what is the problem that you are consulting, you're planning to take Ayurveda for? So these are the two questions. Okay, by the time you answer, I'll answer this question. So Kavita has asked me any food that you would suggest to improve fertility. Okay, Kavita, the thing is, food is amazing, is a medicine, as long as it is done properly. So if you have generally a bad diet and you're taking ashwagandha or shatavari or some herb, for example, just an example, to boost your fertility, right? It's not going to have any effect, because generally you are having a very, very unhealthy diet. So I would suggest, rather than looking for specific things that improve fertility, that improve PCOS, that improve hormonal balance, try to make an overall shift in your diet. So one of the diets that I suggest for PCOS, it's not the same all the time, but I do suggest going plant-based. So removing all animal products from your diet, including dairy. So going plant-based has corrected a lot of people's hormonal imbalances, issues, everything. So once your body is naturally healed, when you take herbs like shatavari, ashwagandha, etc., it will actually act in your body. Because if you are not generally taking any, you're having a very bad diet, a very bad lifestyle, and on top of that you're taking just some of the things to boost your fertility, it's not going to have any effect on it. As I said, it's a holistic thing. Food is also holistic. You need to look food as food, not as carbohydrates, fats, vitamins and specific supplements. Who all can attend this webinar? Anita, anybody can attend this webinar who are in their reproductive cycle. So between, I would say below 18, if there is someone, please attend with your parent. Above 18, anybody can attend up to the age of 45, 50 till the time you menopause. And this, I feel that this is relevant for all women because we need to take control of our cycle, right? Because we are the ones who are put on contraceptive pills because of the fear of getting pregnant. We are the ones who are suffering from the burden of side effects from these pills. We are the ones who have to undergo, if suppose, let's say it's an unwanted pregnancy, we don't want it, again we have to undergo the process. So it's all, everything is happening on us and it's happening to us. Okay, men are there, but they might be emotionally there with us, but physically we are the one who are undergoing all these things. So I feel all women should attend this. They at least should understand that this is a way of reading their own cycle. This is the way of reading their own menstrual issues. So if there is an issue, you can address it early in life. Thank you, Kavita. Thank you so much. It was lovely. It's lovely talking to all you ladies. This is my this is my passion, medical education, because I feel even doctors are not taught these things which I teach. In the last 10 years, I have had wide range of experiences. I've met some amazing women on the way, and all these women have shaped the way I view health, I view menstrual health, and I view myself also. So I am very happy to be imparting these things to all of you, and I'm so glad that so many of you all decided to join me today. It was really amazing. Any more questions? In the webinar, I'll be discussing some books that you guys can read, which will help further understand the method. It might be overwhelming to begin with, but as I said, just have a little bit of patience and you can do it. It's not difficult at all. And the webinar is not just for medical professionals. Anybody can attend. So I'll be teaching very, very basic things. Okay. So the anatomy and physiology is just to get an understanding. And then I'll be teaching the science in detail, like how you can check, what you need to check, what are the different rules, and how you can map your science to your fertility period. So that is what I'll be discussing, and of course we'll have a session on Q&A. Yes, Tarika, thank you so much. Yes, I'll be happy to see you also. So PWMLK, I don't know your name, but you said that you're taking Ayurvedic medicine, you're planning on taking it. I would suggest, great, you can take Ayurvedic medicine, but make sure that it is prescribed by a good Ayurvedic practitioner first of all. Secondly, look into your diet. And thirdly, as I said, awareness. Be aware of your cycle. In this session also I've discussed some very good red flags that you guys can watch out for. So even that, if you do, it's more than enough. Thank you, Surbhi. Thank you for joining in. Okay. Any more questions? Because we have barely 10 minutes. So if there are any questions, I can take it. Otherwise, we can end the live session here today. And I hope to see some of you guys next week in the webinar. There is a number written, that's my phone number, so you can contact me on WhatsApp and I'll give you details for the payment and the link for the webinar, and that will be next Sunday 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. It might extend beyond 6 because we might have a question answer session also going on, and it depends on how many what sort of an interaction I get from the participants. So it might be from 5 to 6:30. Okay, so that might be the timing. And I'll be discussing fertility awareness method, so which is FAM, and I'll be discussing how you can correlate it to your cycle, how you can use it for contraception, how you can use it for fertility assessment, and how you can use it for general, keeping a track of your menstrual health. So that's what's going to be the outline of the webinar that I'll be taking. Yes, Anita. Yeah, Anita, I wore a red dress for that very purpose. I'm glad you noticed it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, it's honestly it's my passion to talk on this topic because, as I said, there is not enough good education on this topic, and lot of women, lot of girls are misled, and I feel really bad sometimes. And this is, I think, my way of reaching out to maximum people. Yeah. Thank you so much for attending. Okay, so I think we can hold the session here. This will be available on my timeline for 24 hours, and I'll try to download this and also put it somewhere, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. And if you have any further questions, you can just leave it on the comment section and we'll answer it to you, or you can DM me your questions and I'll answer it to you, either way. So it was lovely talking to you lot, and it was amazing that so many of you all attended. It feels great, and I hope to get some participants from for the webinar next. And we have limited seats, so I'll be taking maximum 10 or 12 participants only. So I would say 10, not more than 10. So please try to register as early as you can. I don't want a lot of people because then, I will not be effectively communicating what I want to communicate. So it's going to be only limited. And if I have more people, I can have more webinars in the future. Also, we are going. You can leave your suggestions on any other topics that you want to that you want me to talk about. And if it's under my expertise and something that I can share, I'll definitely do it, because this was Archana's suggestion and I decided to take upon it. So it's amazing to get the feedback. So anything, just DM me or leave your message on the comments. Okay. So have a nice day, everybody, and I hope you guys enjoyed the session. Bye. See you.